Hi, I'm Phil Malto and welcome to Snowbuilder Television. Today's episode is all about the groomed trails. Our test riders will be trying out trail performance sleds, while I try out the Bearcat Groomer Special, and I'll hook up with a local club getting those trails ready for the winter season. Let's ride.
STV is sponsored by Yamaha, revs your heart. Kimpex, fueled by fun. And by Skidoo, never stop pushing.
Our test riders have really got the work cut out for them today. The trails are really rough, a lot of stutter bumps, a lot of nasties going through the corners. We've got sleds from all 4 EMs and we're taking them out on the trails. Even though these trails are rough, these sleds like to prove to the riders that when it comes to all conditions, they can handle it. Today we are looking at the Skidoo MXZ Blizzard, Yamaha Apex, Polaris Indy, and the Cat Sno Pro. These sleds may not be designed to bang around a ditch, taken on week-long tours, or off-trail in deep powder, and we're not saying that they can't do that. But when it comes to hitting the trail with aggression, handling of power, you won't find anything that will match up to these sleds. When you hit the trail on these machines and pin the throttle, these sleds will definitely give you the best ride possible. Our test riders, Brad, Hal, and Mike, will give you the breakdown on these trail performing machines. Skidoo has always had a large lineup of trail performance sleds, from the MXZ, TNT, to the Renegade models. The MXZ Blizzard shines this year, and as the Blizzard name has always had BRP performance written all over it, for 2016, we were impressed yet again.
I was riding the 2016 MXZ Blizzard today from Skidoo. It's an all-new model from Skidoo, and they seem to bring back the Blizzard name every so many years. And typically, when they do that, it's always a hit, and you know it always fits kind of a niche between the MXZ TNT and the X package in this case. And what's nice about the Blizzard model this year is it has the 129-inch R motion and has the new Pilot adjustable skis. The one we rode today had the 800R E-Tech. It's an awesome match for the machine. What I'm really liking about the machine is the new skis. I mean, you put that on any one of the older MXZs or any of the machines that like a TNT that doesn't come with them, and it's a huge difference. There's no darting, there's positive steering, and you know today we started out as minus 30 in the morning, and you know trails are rock hard and glare ice in the corners, and you don't need much carbide sticking down, so you have that at a low setting. And then this afternoon, it's it's only like minus 10. Trails have loosened up. The sun is warm, and you know you click those skis, same as your quick adjust rear end, and out comes that carbide and digs through that snow. And there's no darting. It's precise steering. It digs down to the ice in the corners, and yeah, it's a huge improvement. I really like them. Really shocked they actually went into production. When you look at them, it's expensive. They look expensive to make them. I'm glad they did it. The other part I like about the Blizzard is the 129 R motion. I can see 120-inch tracks being a thing of the past. I know some guys like them in the tight twisties, but I think the 129 is the way to go. You're not giving up much agility, and you gain traction, you gain braking. You know the advertising is right. Like it works. It's a good length. You know it's not going to be like a Renegade. There's not really going to be any benefit off trail, but on trail, it definitely bridges the bumps better and gives you more traction. So, yeah, I really like the Blizzard. I think they have a good model on their hands with that one.
The Yamaha Viper has revolutionized the Yamaha brand on the snow. It is a cornerstone in their lineup, and it's not hard to see why it is a key model. At the same time, there are still other models that Yamaha depends on to bring performance to the trail. Never to be overlooked or underestimated, the Apex returns to the trails for 2016. A sled that has proven itself as a performance contender time and time again, it once again left positive impressions on our test riders. The high torque, fast cornering Yamaha Apex always leaves us smiling.
2016 Yamaha has come out with a modified version of the Apex. So, you know, if you're a diehard Yamaha fan and you bleed Yamaha blue and you still like that Genesis 4-cylinder motor, and you're wondering, Yamaha, when are you going to come out with something different? Well, 2016 they've done it. So basically what they've done is they've simplified their rear suspension, dropped 10 pounds. So gone is that complex, rear suspension. They've simplified. It's a single shock again, but now they've gone from the control rods for the coupling to just the coupling blocks, what everybody else has had for a number of years. And in doing so, they've lightened the weight. This is a heavy sled, so dropped it 10 pounds. Made it a little more responsive in the bumps, and it's an improvement, subtle improvement. It's not a ditch banging sled. This machine never was designed that way, still isn't. Yamaha also has their chassis dampener from the factory, standard, so it's a front chassis dampener that's built in on the front end of the sled and on the rear tunnel. And again, this is just to take out the torsional twitchiness that this chassis is known for. Going into the corners, just make it a little more planted. It's funny, it's not something that you notice. If you go onto your buddy's 2 or 3 year older Apex without it, you might, see a difference with it. Yamaha firmly believes in it. It's factory installed on the new Apex. 129-inch track version we had today. Power steering, the 4-cylinder motor is unreal. Just so if you're an Apex lover and you're ready to deal up, you got lots of miles on your sled, now's the time.
The Indy is a household name when it comes to Polaris. It's a far different machine from the Indies of the past. This sled is designed for handling and performance on the trails, and this Indy will rebrand what we think of what the Indy can do.
Okay, today I'm riding the Polaris Indy SP Terrain Dominator. It's an excellent color scheme. It's got the Polaris blue and white. It's a fantastic little 600 motor. It's an underachiever. It's a friggin' really goes. It's lots of power here riding today. The rear suspension, when the Indy first came out, it always was a little stiff, kind of like a bucking Bronco. But now they've got it dialed. It was so fun to ride today. Cornering so well, no inside ski lift. Rear suspension soaked up the bumps. There was no bone rattling, bottoming out because it was rough riding here today. And today it was good. I liked it. Most of the sleds we're riding today were aggressive trail riding sleds. Some of them were more for the huge big bump bouncing sleds, but the Indy today was could keep right up with them. It's not engineered as a huge racing type sled, but it works well for aggressive trail riding, or you could just putt along all day too. It does both. It does both excellent. They reintroduced the rear skid, and it's always had the good front end in it as a entry-level sled, and now it's still at the lower price range, but it's a all-out performer. It's you don't have to spend $16,000, $18,000. You spend $10,000, and this sled will do everything you need.
Arctic Cat is no stranger when it comes to trail performance. From all the talk in previous years that the F-Series brought to the market in speed and performance, the ZR Sno Pro series remind us that Arctic Cat knows how to deliver to the consumer on the trail performance market.
Riding a Arctic Cat 7000 Sno Pro today. It's the early spring edition, all green. If you love green, that sled is green. It's an eye catcher for sure. It has the new Fox shocks that were engineered with Arctic Cat. They're coil-over front shocks. They've gone away from the Fox Float air shocks in the front, and they only have 3 clicker adjustments. And that's basically all you need, really. You don't need 16 adjustments, 3 adjustments, and it does a whole wide range of different bump absorption in the trail. You can adjust it for any terrain, and it will soak up all bumps, and it'll ride smooth. I was really impressed. It has the Yamaha 3-cylinder motor, and I had a lot of fun. It really corners well. Bumps were good. The windshield is excellent wind protection, and I love the Arctic Cat bars. They're big and beefy, and you know, you really get to hold on and have a good time. Today we had a lot of choppy trails. The groomer hasn't been out for a couple days here, and there's a lot of washboard bumps, and we tried adjusting the suspension from hard to soft, and the soft was just a little too soft. You know, you'd get the odd bottom out, and on hard it was like almost too hard. You're looking for a bigger bump to actually use the suspension. So setting 2, it was great for all the washboardy bumps we were riding today.
We caught up with our longtime grooming friend Graham, and he discusses with us the method of pre-grooming called land leveling.
The land leveler is based on, it's mainly a roller, and then what we put is spring tooth cultivator teeth in front of it to cut the ground a little bit. But the roller is not necessarily there to pack the ground, it's just to keep it from having any lumps sticking up. We started out with a piece of equipment that is meant for agriculture. It's called a cultipacker, but that ended up packing the ground down a little more than what the farmers really wanted. Where this is nice, it doesn't pack the ground, which makes it easier to go over when it's actually a little bit on the wet side. And it's been a win-win. The farmers are great. They appreciate it, and they have no problem with what we're doing. Well, we found over the years that by leveling out the ground where the trail's going to go, we're able to get not only the snowmobiles onto the trail earlier, but the groomers out on the trail earlier. The other factor is that it's been a lot nicer to our equipment. Our grooming equipment doesn't break down near as much because it doesn't have to chip these frozen lumps of ground off, because there's virtually no lumps of ground sticking up. So it's been a win-win. Snowmobilers ride a nicer trail earlier in the season, and we get out there and get them done without messing up the equipment. We used to cross plowed fields with the equipment like a wagon or ATV to set up trails, and the stakes would be bouncing off the wagon, where now we got a lot smoother for setting up the trail. And it's the guys that do the grooming are the ones that do the land leveling, and they have a good feel for where the trail was the year before, and they have a different frame of mind as to how they want the trail. When you're staking, you just want to get them stakes in, get from here to there. Where when the guy's land leveling, he puts them long sweeps into the fields instead of having sharp corners. Well, first of all, a lot of times the landowner tells us where we can and can't go, so we try to work with the landowner to cross a field and make our corners as gradual as possible. We know people don't like to slow down and speed up a lot because they have to do it often enough for our road crossings. But if we can make the trail as gradual as possible, they can coast and ride much easier, and they don't rough up the trail near as much, because when they're breaking into corners, it's hard to keep a corner smooth through the winter. People don't mind letting off on the throttle a little bit to make it from point A to point B, but when they brake and throttle, it turns into a bit of a snowcross track for some. And it also takes us 1 or 2% of the people to ride the trails hard, and it makes our job a lot tougher. When I first started grooming, we had the problem where everybody wanted to go around the edge of the field, and some of the landowners actually wanted us to stay to the edge of the field, and then you make that 90-degree corner and to get to where you want to go. Well, why go in one direction turn when you can just cut across a field and do less damage? It not only does less damage, but it made it a lot easier for us grooming. So even in areas where it wasn't a 90-degree or going around the outside of the field, we adopted all of our trail system to make our corners more gradual to make it much easier to maintain.
Since we borrow the land from farmers, the rotation of crops also dictates where Graham can set up the trails.
Sometimes we put the stakes in certain places because of a crop that could be planted underneath. Winter wheat is very susceptible to snowmobile trails. We can kill the wheat, and if we do that too many times, we're going to lose permission to cross that person's field if we keep killing his crop. And what we do is we compensate the landowner. It costs us money, so that permit dollar's coming right off the trail again. So we do what we can to keep our costs as low as we can. So we'd really appreciate if snowmobilers just stay between the stakes, because that's where the trail is. Over the years, I have groomed over plowed fields, and it's a nightmare. And now going over this way, it's just been such a pleasure. And actually what we're finding more so than anything is snowmobiles are actually getting out in the trail. Even after 2 or 3 inches of snow, they're able to ride on the trail. Not great, but it's at least gets that out of their system a little bit. We had a little bit of a snowfall last week, and I think I was the first one to get out my snowmobile and get out there and give it a ride, because I knew where I could go and where I couldn't go. But definitely once I get into this piece of equipment, you know, the season's just around the corner.
If you remember in a previous episode, I was lucky enough to take a Bearcat groomer package out on the trail. Well, it's back, it's different, it's changed, and it's still a great groomer package. We're going to take it out today on the trail.
You know, what we're sitting on today is our new Bearcat XT Groomer Special, and we're lucky enough to pull a groomer, so we get to do everything the big groomers do for the trail systems, only this is in a smaller package. The response to the Groomer Special, it started off slow, but it's slowly gaining momentum. The more people see what this machine is capable of, the more they get excited, and this is for snowmobilers and cross-country skiers. Does everything the big groomers do. It's hydraulic activated, so we have our up and down. We're able to control pressure with the groomer. You know, places that a big groomer can't get into. This is a lot of fun. Who would have thought that going 1.5 miles an hour is actually fun? But like I said before, you're making the world a better place, one swipe at a time with the groomer.
Like the previous year, I was pleasantly surprised overall of what the Bearcat Groomer Special does and how it handles. To think that pulling a groomer specifically designed for the Bearcat that gives the trail quality of a full-size grooming tractor, but on a snowmobile. This grooming special is specifically designed for tight trails that large groomers can't enter, and for clubs that don't have the money to purchase a full-size one. Even though it is a smaller package, in the open areas and at surprising speeds, the Bearcat hauls without any issues and delivers the quality that's expected. Arctic Cat delivers again in 2016 with this groomer special and stands alone with this groomer package. Other OEMs have utility sleds capable of pulling a groomer like this, but we will have to wait to see if they address this niche in the groomer market as well as Arctic Cat has. In winter, there's nothing like the feel of coming down a nice smooth tabletop trail, but sometimes you have to get off that snow to go get gas, put your sled in the garage. What do people do in those situations?
Well, in recent years, Phil, there's a variety of products that have come out onto the market to basically allow you to travel over exposed asphalt and cement and those type of situations. One of those products is the Rooski. And it's a product carried by Kimpex, and essentially what this product does is allows you to convert your ski to a wheel while crossing those type of road situations. and it just essentially flips and allows to put that wheel underneath your ski, saving your ski from wear and tear, and saving carbides that you spend lots of money on.
We've all been there at the restaurant when somebody comes scraping down the road and it's an awful sound, and we know how expensive it is on the carbides. How simple is this to operate?
Well, essentially you just stop, get off your sled, and basically grab the handle on this side, and it allows the ski to flip and puts a wheel down below, which raises the ski a few inches off the ground surface.
What a great idea, because damaging your ski, damaging your sidewalks, or even damaging your garage is never a great idea. And we're also looking at an aftermarket ski, the Stealth. Why would people switch skis on their sled?
Stealth's a premium upgrade ski, which allows basically for a snowmobile that's running through conditions of darting and those types of things. It is a premium brand where it's got a dual carbide underneath with a blade, similar to what you see here in the packaging. And it also has a concave in the front, which allows for snow to push away and helps in cornering. A little bit wider ski for that off-trail situations as well. So one of the features of the Roo ski allows for the deployment of the ski back into its resting position through the spring-loaded assist, which essentially all you do is turn the skis and it retracts back.
People can order custom skis, but can also get the color to match their sled.
You got it. We basically, on the full line of Kimpex skis, we offer 7 different colors, and it's as simple as a couple of bolts, and change your ski loop for customized colors.
So same ski, different color hoop to match your sled. So if you want to save your carbides, save your skis, Kimpex has got the answers.
You've got it. Check us out online or see your local dealer.
STV is sponsored by Ultimax Belts, performance proven, performance driven. Snowgoer Canada Magazine, Canada's snowmobiling magazine, and by CKX. Wear your passion.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode from the trails. On next week's show, we take it up a notch as we check out some ice hockey racing in Duluth, Minnesota, and our test riders take out some ditch banging sleds. Remember, you can always follow us on Twitter and Facebook, as well as on our web pages for Snowbuilder TV and Snowgoer Canada. And you can also email me directly, Phil@snowmobilertv.com. We'll see you next week here on the snow.